Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Reactor, and this is Quinn. And today's article comes from Inverse.com, and it says, unassuming land plant produces a psychoactive marijuana-like compound. These compounds are very similar. So I guess the story is that they discovered a new chemical in a plant that is like THC. It's like cannabis or something, and let's see what they're talking about. Move over, marijuana. Scientists have their eye on a THC-like psychoactive chemical found in the unassuming lumpy radula, a group of plants in the liverwort family. That's not to say that some people weren't already aware of its existence, though. Dried radula is sold online as incense, and some liverwort users say it's like a legal form of cannabis. In the paper published Wednesday in Science Advances, Swiss researchers show just how close to cannabis it actually is.
That's crazy.
I mean, not really. Like, there's so many drugs, like they're actually like they call them designer drugs. I don't know.
Right.
But if this one, I think any drug known, like the popular drugs are the ones that are probably have the most obvious effects. You know, like nobody recreationally takes Tylenol. You know.
Right.
So if this isn't popular, there's probably a reason, right?
Somebody's going
probably
to
not that great.
I know somebody's probably trying to figure out a way to grow something like cannabis that doesn't look like it. There's got to be somebody who's trying to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think people are.
Sounds crazy.
I don't know. Monsanto's probably
Like
doing
Monsanto,
something.
company like that, yeah.
The team behind the study examined a molecule found in various species of radula and found that it really is very similar to THC, also known as trans-tetrahydrocannabinol, the most well-known psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. The molecule, called cis-parotinine, cis-PET for short, is so similar to THC that its effects on mouse brains are similar. Something I want to point out, see how it says trans-tetrahydrocannabinol?
Right.
And then there's cis-PET? Mm-hmm. It's like the whole gender thing about being trans or cis.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it came from chemistry. I don't know. I mean, they kind of did, but maybe they're just being used in the same sentence. I don't know. It's weird. Jörg Gertzen, PhD, a professor of biochemistry and molecular medicine at the University of Bern in Switzerland, is one of the corresponding authors on the paper. He explains that the differences between THC and cis-PET are quite small. These compounds are very similar and only differ at one atom in their 3D organization, and cis-PET has an additional benzyl ring at the end of the chain. Gersh tells Inverse, in simple terms, just a couple small differences in molecular structure separate cis-PET from THC. This similarity doesn't just show up in the chemistry lab, though. It also plays out in the brain. So here is a picture of the molecules, and this right here, I believe, is the only difference. Yeah, it is. There's plenty of chatter on internet drug forums about using radula as a legal high, but there's not much scientific research on the plant, which is native to New Zealand and Tasmania. To explore how cis-PET affects the brain, Gersh and his colleagues injected it into the abdomens of mice and observed how it interacted with 44 different targets in the central nervous system. The compound they found binds and activates cannabinoid receptors in the mouse brains, much like THC and other cannabinoids, though not as strongly. So it's like a weak version of weed.
Right.
And like I was saying, that's probably why it's not so popular. It probably doesn't have very obvious psychoactive effects.
They gave mice some kind of edible version of this plant.
No, they injected it, I think.
Right.
Into the abdomens. They could have just let them eat it. I don't know. They're assholes.
Right.
Torturing mice. Like, look, why couldn't they try it themselves?
That's crazy because it looks more like a bush of a plant, and it would probably make identifying it difficult
like moss
for people. Like, that could be like an alternative to. Yeah, it does. It almost does look like moss on a tree or a rock.
Can it be used as medicine like cannabis does?
Yeah, like could someone eat it? Because that could be really helpful.
High on cis-PET, the mice displayed the 4 classic physical symptoms that typically indicate cannabinoid intoxication in mice: reduced pain sensitivity, lowered body temperature, lack of response to external stimuli, and inhibited movement. And those aren't necessarily bad things. Man, could you imagine not being able to feel pain? You would die.
You'd be like a superhero.
No, you wouldn't. I think you wouldn't know when your back was getting cut up.
That's very true. Painful.
Like, oh crap, I'm laying on nails? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like,
painful to watch.
The study's authors say this evidence indicates that with more research, cispet could end up being a promising cannabinoid alternative to THC, one that doesn't require the cultivation of cannabis. Wait, what? Yeah, this is a different plant. Of course it doesn't require the cultivation of cannabis. It's like scientists think that if you grow tomatoes, you won't have to grow peppers. Or like,
It's like if that plant's easier to grow, great. Maybe it can be grown in different conditions that certain people may not can't afford, certain ways to grow certain plants. Maybe it's an alternative. Maybe it grows under some low light or something.
Yeah. Eric Carrera, PhD, a professor of organic chemistry at ETH Zurich, and Michael Scaffroth, who is currently a research associate at the Scripps Research Institute, but worked on the project while at ETH Zurich, says this will be subject for further studies. Yeah, obviously. Idiots. Pyrotitanine reduces the levels of some important prostaglandins in the brain. This is in sharp contrast to THC, which has been reported to increase the concentrations of these compounds. So it does work differently. Carriera and Scrafforth told Inverse in a joint statement, these prostaglandins are connected to many physiological processes and elevated levels play a role in different disease mechanisms, e.g. neuroinflammation and vasoconstriction, but are also connected to adverse side effects when consuming THC. So by pursuing cispet as a potential medicine, they hope they can eliminate some of the negative side effects of THC. This is a long way off, though. Yeah, you know what? I guess, just like any drug, if you take more of it, it can have the same effects as a stronger drug, you know?
Right.
It is unclear whether Radula as liverwort would be useful medicinally, says Gersh. We think the natural product cispet could in theory be a better version of THC, as it might have less side effects and super anti-inflammatory effects in the central nervous system. So this is it. Yeah, weird. It looks like a moss.
It really does.
I think it is.
It looks like something that would grow like in between the cracks of a sidewalk or something.
Like you could grow it in your garden without trying, maybe,
Right.
Like as long as it's got humidity.
Looks like you could just put it right on your burger. It's like, there you go. Have some medicine.
I guess. Their next steps will be to conduct more extensive animal testing to figure out how it compares to THC as a medicine. Then come lengthy human trial. So even if Radula-based cannabinoids eventually show up in pharmacies, it won't be for years. In the meantime, keep in mind Gersh's warning that we don't know a lot about cispet and that it sucks for getting high. Cispet is a poor recreational drug, which reflects also the different opinions about the liverwort as a legal high on the internet, he says. Yeah,
so it's more medicinal. That's what you should be using it for.
Yeah.
If they ever have it for use like that. Maybe people will find that it's helpful in conjunction. Hopefully it helps people out.
Well, yeah, at the very least you could extract any active compounds you can find in it.
Right.
So while they say I don't know, they say it sucks for getting high, I'm sure if you take enough of it, you could OD maybe, but
if you could extract the purest form of this plant, enough of it, into some kind of a concentrated form, maybe perhaps they can mix it together with some kind of other product that...
I wonder if you could blast out the cispet or whatever with butane like you can in...
Blast out?
Like you put the butane in cannabis and it turns into... You get the shatter out of it. The butane evaporates.
I've never seen them do that, but...
I don't know. It's like one of the ways they do it.
Sounds legit.
But my point is, could you extract it? And does it turn into like an oil like cannabis does? Cannabis is like the only drug that's an oil.
I'm
everything else is a powder.
I mean, I'm sure that would be the best way that they could probably make it. It would be a pure form of it, and it would probably end up helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Maybe you can help people quit cannabis addiction and stuff like that.
Maybe. I know that sometimes it has been used to help with other opiate addictions.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for people. Hopefully this works out.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't add it to the drinking water without our knowledge.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that drinking water.
Yeah. Anyway, you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay. Well, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Let us know by leaving a comment. Check out our Patreon link in the description if you want to help us. And thanks for watching.